Hello folks, this is your host Neeby here again with another RFEFP. Are you ready for this little beacon of light? The traffic controllers of the sea, the mediators of the space where sea reaches land, where their motto is, at sea the principal danger is land. Now the lighthouse folks, and does their light really curve out at sea? As it must do 100% if you still think that you live on an oranged earth. Well, laser lights say not, your line of sight says not, and rays of light say not. But heliocentricity theorizes it's the wonderful and magical force of gravity mixed with refraction that curves the light and which forms the curvature on the earth. Now, of course, folks, light can bend through a prism, but can it actually curve out at sea? Can we test this out for oneself? Well, yes, we most certainly can. So if you or I was to take a straight stick and a lamp and just see if you can throw a shadow around the corner of a square box or cube or balloon. Now, regarding the line of sight, just look and see if you can actually see around the corner of a house and over the top of it. Now, yes, of course, folks, there is a form of refraction and reflection on the plane Earth, and either may produce an image of a substance, but it is never the real substance, never. So if the horizon or the Earth was actually curved at 8 inches per mile squared Pythagoras theorem, then the light from any lighthouse on the plane would be pointed into the sky from miles out at sea and not level straight. What sea navigators see with their level line of sight at sea level. There is no argument to this fact, folks. Now, all ships, vessels, massive cargo boats would not be able to see the light from any lighthouse because the lighthouse light would be somehow leaning backwards in the opposite angle or direction to the vessel. This is the wonder of spherical trigonometry, also known as the Pythagoras theorem, that dictates the curve of Earth is a simple equation being 8 inches per mile squared, and that is the law, folks, so it must adhere to it for the oranged Earth theory. Now, all navigators and pilots use plane trigonometry and not spherical. And this is also another fact, folks, as we Zetics know, and so do most of you really, that the 8 inches per mile squared equation and spherical trigonometry are clearly and practically impossible calculation formulas and badly worked out mathematically. So if the 72% water on Earth we know is horizontal and level, obviously waves and storms, etc., but lighthouses, folks, the light can be seen and have been reported their light rays as far out as 42 miles away. Some a lot more than that. 42 miles away. Now this means, folks, meaning that the vessel, by the law of spherical trigonometry, 996 feet below the horizon. And that's a whopping 300 meters. So they would not be able to see those level, straight light rays. But they do, folks. They really, really do. And this is just one of the many accounts that have been written and recorded down. And another is the Bluff Light in Natal. Has been seen from 30 miles away. And this lighthouse stands at 280 feet above sea level, so should have been 298 feet below the horizon, also allowing a massive 20 feet for the height of the observer, or for any doubters thinking that we do not live on a plain earth. The Lighthouses of the World, folks, is an incredible book for one's own proof of how far they can actually be seen as far out for detailed reference. Now, if a lighthouse light is scientifically, folks, seen just a mere 15 miles away out at sea, then the globe Earth really is an impossibility. So why don't more people seem to care to know about this very fact? It is so very basic to get your head around. It is mathematically, practically, and categorically an impossibility if the Earth is a curved ball with a circumference of 25,000 miles, which it is so not. No matter how bright a lighthouse light or any other light-giving object, or non-light-giving object for that matter, it should not, could not, and would not be seen absolutely anywhere from a distance greater than where the so-called curvature of the Earth is. There is no curve to this Earth, folks. So no curve, no globe. Okay? Their light rays and flashes of light are seen up to an impossible 50 miles far out on the oceanic plate. And this is a written fact, folks. 50 miles. Now, this can only happen on a plain Earth. All the plains, oceans, seas are more or less all connected together. Surprise, surprise. So it would stand to follow that they are all virtually of the same level. Now, a globe with level oceans would be a totally new concept in geography and mathematics, don't you think, folks? And this is also why a spirit level is filled with water and sometimes fitted with a laser beam for extra level straight. And does that curve, folks? No, it doesn't. Or we would have many, many wonky shelves in Burton Manor, and I'm sure you would in your abode. They use water because water is level flat. It's datum flat, as all standing water is 100%. And a laser light is used because the concentrated laser light rays are level straight too. Webster's definition of a straight line dictates that a straight line is the shortest distance between two given points. Webster's definition of a curve is a line of which no three consecutive points are in the same straight line. And so finally, they define level as not having one part higher than another, which is even, flat, smooth, horizontal, a line everywhere parallel to the surface of still water. What a perfect explanation of level flat. Now, the lighthouses, folks, are found on every single continent on the plain Earth apart from one: Antarctica. The so-called continent of Antarctica has no permanent population apparently, but it has nearly 70 scientific stations. Many of them are actually staffed all year round. Now, they have beaches, hot pools, volcanoes, and an actual river that runs red. Now, does that sound like a nice continent to you? Now, I may do a separate upload on this piece of paradise in the future, so hit the sub in case you missed that one. Now, only navigational beacons are considered to be lighthouses in the first place, and they are only if they have a height of at least 4 meters and a footprint of at least 4 square meters. So by this standard, folks, Antarctica has exactly 0 lighthouses in 2018. So how they have the cheek to claim that they have circumnavigated the globe from top to bottom, somehow without the traffic controllers of the South Seas to guide them. It's beyond me. No ship, folks, no boat, no vessel or submarine has ever gone from top to bottom and left to right, etc., etc., in any way shape whatsoever. This, folks, is actually impossible due to severe weather conditions in the south and the ice caps and massive ice barriers that are impenetrable. Again, you can read all about them and the severe conditions in a truly fascinating book entitled World Beyond the Poles to get a much deeper understanding of how dangerous the South Sea waters really are. They have and will only and have only traversed in a circle, folks, leaving the very deadly icy South Seas well alone, going east to west or west to east, bringing them right back where they left off, like you or I would if we walked in a small circle right now. A circle, folks, is not a globe. Now, a circle can be circumnavigated, a globe cannot be. The lighthouses of today play their part on the plane as well now as they first did invented way back in 1696. They all have to conform to the science fact of nature that the rays of light are level straight as the water, as your very own eyesight. There is no possible need or way for the light to be curved due to silly gravity and stupid refraction, as this upload has crudely explained. Lighthouses still save countless millions of lives every year, and they make sure that our goods and products are shipped safely around the plain Earth in a circle. You live on a flat world and walk on a flat ground, not a hypothetical, spherical, cartoon one. So this, folks, is exactly the reason why the lighthouses of the world are another real flat Earth fact on the plane. You know it, and I know it. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I will see you in part 4 of this series. So until then, take care, good luck to you all. Keep flat. Hello there, welcome to part 11 of this RFAFP series, The Real Flat Earth Facts on the Plane. This is Nibi, and this one's entitled The Water. Now, we all know that there is more water on the Earth than dry land. Approximately 72% is water, leaving 28% dry land and absolutely 0% curvature. Yet 95% of this 72% water is 100% unexplored. Yet the natural physics of water is to always find and maintain its level. So if the Earth were a giant sphere tilting and wobbling and hurtling through infinite space towards places of unknown destinations, then truly flat, consistent, level surfaces and water would not and could not exist here. But since Earth is known to be an extended flat plane, this fundamental physical property of fluids finding and remaining level is always consistent with experience and common sense. Water is always flat and seeks equilibrium, whatever the distance. And so this fact strongly conflicts with the global Earth model. Now, the water proves that the Earth is not just flat, but it proves that the Earth is level and stationary, because water is liquid. It runs always down and seeks its level and never runs up unless by power. And the water of the ocean is in every single way pretty near joined together on Earth, and they call this liquid. It will not stay on a round Earth. Now, we know the land is not exactly flat and level because there are mountains and hills and valleys. But this makes no difference, friends, for if the mountains were in the valleys, it would still leave the land flat and level and higher than the water. Now let's suppose 5 boats are in a circle, each just within eyesight of the others, and we place another boat in the middle. If you are in the middle boat looking out at all of the others, they will look as though they are very low and in a hollow, while you seem to be the highest. But if you were to leave your boat and go in turn to all of the others in the circle, it would then look to you as if the boat that you were in first was very low. The point is, friends, whichever boat that you are on seems to you at the time to be the highest, it is not true that one boat is higher than the other, or that the water of the ocean is round. It is flat and always, or nearly always, straight. So it is the distance that makes the others seem lower. Since any given body of water must have a level surface, i.e., not one part higher than another, and seeing that all of our oceans, a few inland seas excepted, are all connected together, it follows that they are all virtually of the same level. The absolute fact that there is no curvature, friends, nor an elevation drop, that the horizon is always eye level, and that water always finds its flatness, should be enough for anybody to embrace the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the Earth is not what you have been told. Now, back in 1862, friends, an order was made for the House of Commons and Lords that issued an order that all railways were to be constructed on a datum horizontal line without allowing 1 inch for curvature. And the Manchester Ship Canal Company published the following in the Earth Review. It is customary in railway and canal constructions for all levels to be referred to a datum which is horizontal and is shown on all sections. It is not the practice in laying out public works to make allowances for the curvature of the Earth, because there is no curvature of the Earth. Gravity is needed to sell the heliocentricity lie of 670 trillion tons of water being able to stick to a spinning, wobbling, tilting ball from the outside of it. There is not £15 per square inch pressing down on you now. Otherwise, how could a little fly or butterfly perform their magical movements on this plain Earth? The water is a real flat Earth fact on the plane. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And good luck to you on the plane. And I'm looking forward to part 12. I'll see you in that one. Very good morning. What are you going to have for breakfast? Well, I suggest we have a glow pancake. And all we're going to need is some eggs. My friends, an inescapable fact about any balls or globes or spheres or obleted spheroids is that they all have to adhere to this simple fact, or we would have many, many problems with shapes. They all must curve downward and away from any point on them, no matter how subtle. They have to curve somewhere downward and away. The study of angles and distances of figures on a ball, globe or sphere is known as spherical trigonometry and is used, apparently, all over the plane. So let's try and keep this in mind as we put it to the test in this upload of the RFEFP series. Hi there, welcome to you and part 12, our Pancaked Earth. Now let me bring your immediate attention, friends, to a first and only unknown actual flat Earth geographic science experiment that was performed and collaborated in the Sunflower State, also called Kansas, in the United States of America. It was back in 2003. Now the results of this actual scientific study was not as much groundbreaking as it was ground battering or globe battering. Now the university geography professors, PhDs, Mark Fonstad, William Pergata and Brandon Voigt used topographical geodetic surveys covering over 80,000 square miles. So by using what was called a confocal laser microscope, had worked out mathematically polynomial equations to scientifically calculate the actual flatness of this state. So they discovered that as compared to the topography of a pancake, it was indeed flatter. A flatness value of 1.000 would indicate perfect platonic flatness. The pancake was scored at 0.957, which the professors said is pretty flat, but far from perfectly flat. The value for Kansas, meanwhile, was 0.9997, or damn flat, as they said. Kansas is about 400 miles long, about half the entire UK, and 210 miles wide. And my friends, absolutely flat. 80,000 square miles they covered. Kansas is flat as far as the eye can see. So let's think about the fallacious spherical trigonometry and the faint mathematics that it entails. Earth is supposed to curve at a very easy measurable 8 inches per mile multiplied by the square of the distance, 8 inches per mile squared. So on a 6-mile stretch of level land, the Earth must dip 6 feet on either end from its central peak. So where is it? Now, one of the first proofs of a so-called globe Earth is the supposed ships disappearing over this curved elevation drop using spherical trigonometry. Now this, my friends, poses a very real problem for real mathematics, because there is no such thing as a curve to this Earth, my friends. So therefore, if there is no curve, then this is definitely not a sphered Earth. Now, this very important geographic science experiment has never been and can never be challenged, or most importantly, can never be disproven in any way whatsoever. Please try if you can. But this is not the whole story, my fellow followers of the plain truth. It gets even better, because scientifically, nearly 600,000 square miles of the United States of America is actually flat, showing absolutely zero curvature or so-called elevation drop. Now, when this very important science study came out, Lee Allison, then the director of the Kansas Geological Survey, actually quoted, "Everything on Earth is flatter than the pancake as they measured it. Everything on Earth as measured is flat." Please try and remember this statement, my friends. Clarifying Allison's report in a paper from earlier that year, geographer professors Jerome Dobson and Joshua Campbell explain it again. The pancake measured in the article was 130 millimeters and its surface relief was 2 millimeters. So applying the ratio to the east-west dimension of Kansas, approximately 644 kilometers, and the state would need a mountain 9,908 meters tall in order not to it be flatter than a pancake. Now thus, since the highest mountain in the world is obviously Everest, standing at 8,848 meters tall, every single state, my friends, in the USA is actually flatter than the pancake. Admittedly, very clearly, that the Earth is indeed flat. Now, which state is the flattest? Now, Dobson and Campbell's research has more good news for Kansas, because their study for the flatness of the US states, the pair developed a measure of human scale perception of flatness by actually creating an algorithm that approximated what a person of average height would see if they were standing in a given spot and turning around in a circle. We know a circle is not a globe. Taking in 16 different views in a revolution, they took elevation data, used polynomial equations, similar technology to what was used previously, and therefore thus divided the continuous United States into 90-meter cells and ran the algorithm to get the flatness for each cell. Each state was then measured in terms of percentage of land, and that was not flat, flat, flatter, and flattest, and then it was ranked. By any measure, Florida takes the prize for the flattest state in the nation because of the highest point in the state, my friends, and this is only 345 feet above sea level, 0% curvature. Then Illinois, North Dakota, Louisiana, Minnesota, and Delaware follow. Kansas, my friends, is merely 7th in the flatness scale. So to reiterate, if Kansas was scientifically flatter than a pancake, and Florida is 6 times flatter on the scale than that, then what more does a person have to do to show you, to convince you, to give you concrete scientific mathematical proof that the Earth is flat? This is it, my friends. Part 12. So why did they do this work back in the early 2000s? One may be asking. Why did they focus on the flatness in the actual first place? What would be the point? Well, Dobson was a very different professor. He quotes, "People measure mountains and hills all the time, and I'm not sure anybody has purposely measured flat before. There's also the fact that perceptions matter, not just culturally, but also economically. For those who think this frivolous survey of science study is important because it really does affect people's perceptions. And thus it would take a mountain higher than Mount Everest in order for Kansas not to be flatter than a pancake. What do you think the message is here, friends? Kansas is flat. Florida is flattest. The USA is flat. The UK is flat. The world as you see it, my friends, is measured scientifically as flat. And thus, lastly, it is the very reason why the Pancaked Earth geographic science experiment of 2003 and 4 is and will always be a real flat Earth fact on the plane. So I thank you for tuning in, and I hope this one throws out a curveball to all of the Copernicans. We are really friends, but flat power to the plane. And I wish you good luck and take care of this plain Earth. I'll see you in part 13. You take care. Woo. Here we go.